What's going on, folks? In Stu's garage today. Right now, I'm trying to get caught up on you guys' V2 orders. I'm actually waiting on the UPS man right now because he's bringing something really cool for the Drift Fox. So once he gets here, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on that. All right. What do you say, Cat? Even you're excited? All right, so what we've got here is a set of Feals suspension front coilovers. And I only got the fronts because I've got the IRS in the rear and I didn't want to buy the rears, and I've got pretty nice Bilstein gear out back. But so as far as this goes, this is pretty much going to be the last of my cheap parts that I'm replacing on this car. Feals suspension. Let me go ahead and get these out of the packages so you can see them. All right, so that's what it looks like. They come with Swift springs on them. But anyways, Feals suspension came very highly recommended to me from John Duncan, who's huge in the drift in the Foxbody drift community. Basically, what's so special about this coilover set is these are drift specific. So basically, these were developed by Feals specifically for the Foxbody Mustang, specifically for drifting, and specifically for the angle kit that I have, which is really cool. Feals suspension actually makes a lot of suspension parts for FD cars. So this is like the professional grade stuff right here, folks. Before I go ahead and pull off my Racelands, I just want to say Raceland, they have a bad rap, but in their defense, I've never heard any firsthand negative accounts of Raceland. I've done really well with the Racelands that have been on my car. I've loved them ever since I've had them. And Raceland has amazing customer service. So, you know, I'm not too anxious to get them off of the car, but I do want to have the upgrades, and they're gonna go to live on and be on another Mustang. So, you know, thumbs up for Raceland. Thanks a lot, guys, for you know, your great customer service. The suspension has been great on the Drift Fox, but now it's time to go up a notch or a few notches, and you know, put the premium stuff on here. So, like I was saying about the Swift springs, you can order these with any pound springs that you want. I think they'll support up to like a 700-pound spring. Typically on a drift car, on a Foxbody with angle kit, you'll run a 700-pound spring for pretty much for track only if you have no sway bar. I still have the sway bar because I do like to street drive this car, and it allows me to have a softer spring. I just don't have quite as much grip in the front. Currently I'm running a 500-pound spring, which I think I'm going to go ahead and stick with. So I'm going to take the Swift springs off and put my Ebach 500-pound springs on here. These are 400, and I'm going to rock that way. John Duncan, again, recommended to me to go ahead and use the 400-pound springs, but I think I'm just going to go ahead and keep the Ebach 500s. I've been pretty happy with those. So once again, if you're running a Foxbody and you have a sway bar, you want to be between, you know, 400 and 500. If you don't have a sway bar, you want to get a 700-pound spring. But if you run a 700-pound spring and a sway bar, that's too much stiffness for your strut to actually be able to compensate for. So those are the recommended specs. Let's go ahead and pull the old stuff off and get this on the car. Okay, so here we are inside of the wheel well. Changing out a strut is pretty simple and straightforward, especially if you already have coilovers. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to take these two nuts out right here. You're going to undo this nut here up top, which you absolutely have to have an impact for. And that's most cars. Anytime you're screwing around with the top mount on a strut, you got to have an impact for it. Otherwise, this thing will spin all day and it won't actually get loose. So those three nuts and the control arm will drop, and we'll actually be able to pull this out. Now, if you have a OEM style suspension, you're gonna have actually a spring, a big old spring right here in this area, and it kind of sucks to get that out. So I feel sorry for you if that's what you're working with. But I've already got the coilovers, I've already gone through that. The only thing I'm worried about today is my end link. The last time I messed with this, it acted like it wanted to break, like my first set of end links when I unloosened it. So I'm just hoping I don't have any issues with that. Like I was saying before, I retained my sway bar just because it makes the car a little bit more street drivable. I can run a little bit softer spring and still have similar stiffness. However, if I was to eliminate the sway bar, my tie rod would be able to articulate a little bit further and I could get more angle. But I've got plenty of angle as it is now, and if I want to drift better, then I need to become a better driver. You know, more angle is, we're not even going to get into that. But anyways, that's what that is. You get more. Basically what I was saying is a lot of angle is cool. It does help you drift. Too much angle pretty much just slows you down, and it keeps you from becoming a better driver. So that's why you don't really want to go too crazy with the angle. On a Foxbody Mustang or a New Edge Mustang, angle kits are almost mandatory because the cars have such little angle from the factory. I mean, these things take up like a football stadium just to make a U-turn. So that's where that is with the angle kits. So anyways, back to our regularly scheduled program. Okay, here are the struts side by side, and what I'm going to try and do now is to match the length of this strut and this strut. So on the Raceland, my only adjustment is here with pushing the spring up and down. On this one, I can keep my preload of the spring the same, and I can actually adjust the height of the shock assembly itself by twisting this bottom section here. So I'm going to screw this all the way down and try to get the lengths of the shocks the same. Okay folks, I've got my springs swapped over. So these are the 500-pound E-Box springs. I took the Swift springs off. I put them on the old suspension, so whoever ends up with this is going to get some nice new Swift springs. Before I go ahead and throw these struts on, I want to show you a couple of things that I like to do to my suspensions before I put them on. And it helps preserve the life of the shock and just keeps it usable for you in the future. So the first thing I like to do is throw a zip tie around the dust boot. Normally from the factory, these dust boots don't really stick on that well, and they'll raise up and down with the shock, and once it lifts up from the shock, it's doing you absolutely no good. Anything that comes with a dust boot on it is basically there to protect that product. When the shaft moves up and down and dirt sticks to it and it goes down into where it's not supposed to be, that's what causes your shock to blow from normal wear and tear. So as long as you can keep dust out of that, it's going to prolong the life of your shock. So like I said, go ahead and throw a zip tie on your dust boot in order to keep that down and keep dirt out of there. And that's going to definitely help your shock out. The next thing I'm going to do is lubricate my threads with this garage door lubricant, which is like a lithium. You can use WD-40 or some other form of lubricant. What I like to do is I like to put that lubricant on the unused threads, and then what I have here is a couple of sheets of plastic that I cut out from the shipping materials, and I'm actually going to wrap this plastic around the threads. And basically what that allows is if you decide that you don't want to be cool anymore and you want to raise your car up, you come back and your threads won't be seized. You can just take this wrapping off. If you want to decide to get more cool and go lower, again, you can just take this wrapping off and your perches will go up and down with ease. A lot of people find that after like a year, their threads are so cruddy and seized up, you can't adjust your coilovers anymore, and that's basically defeats the purpose of having a coilover. So let's go ahead and get these wrapped up and put them on the car. Alright, and here's a look at the new Feals suspension, all bolted up in place where it's supposed to be. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the wheels back on the car. You guys don't really need to see that. One last thing about the Feals, it also comes with these adjusters. I don't remember how many clicks it is, but I think it comes set up neutral. And again, this is made for a Fox body and drift configuration. So the way it comes out of the box is pretty much ready to run. You don't have to really screw with it too much. That's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the wheels back on it. I'm actually not even going to get to drive the car until Sunday at Drift Nirvana. So if you're coming out to Summit Point for 100 Drifters of December, definitely look out for the Drift Fox. Send me some pictures, say what's up, And that's about it. See you guys. Thanks for watching.